there's been a growing movement on Twitch to change the revenue split for subscriptions. So right now, most streamers have a 50-50 split. There are some streamers that have a better cut, but that's usually the top streamers. It's a very few amount of streamers that have a more preferable split. So a lot of streamers are starting to really get fed up with, you know, only getting 50% of your subscriptions. That's a huge cut. And in terms of other streaming platforms, it is the biggest cut that Twitch has compared to other platforms. Most other platforms, I believe both YouTube and Facebook, have a 70-30 split in favor of creators. So Twitch's split is the worst. So a lot of creators are seeing what's happening around them. They're seeing how it's impacting their revenue, and they want better. So there is currently a user voice going around that has almost 20,000 votes, which is by far the biggest user voice suggestion ever. Now, this is Twitch's official channel for feedback and asking for changes. So some people may say, well, why even bother? Who cares? They're not going to do anything. Well, if you want something to change, this is the most official way to do it. This is what every Twitch support tweet will send you to. Hey, you have an idea? Go post it here, right? So I do think it is worth taking the time to logging in and voting. And you know, if this is something you believe in. Part of this user voice petition is to not only change the revenue split, but also lower payout minimums. Right now, the payout minimum is $100 USD to be able to cash out. This person would like to see it lowered to maybe $10 to $20. So let's talk about this a little bit. Let's talk about this issue a little bit. So obviously, a better revenue split for creators would be a better thing for them, right? There's a lot of debate whether this is something that is even possible. There is a sentiment that people have that Twitch is not a profitable company. They think that if this change gets made, well, first of all, they'll never do it. But if theoretically it were to get made, that Twitch would not be able to support it because they just wouldn't. It would just basically, Twitch would fail if the revenue split was changed. This idea, I think, stems from a 3-year-old article that basically said that Twitch was not meeting Amazon's ad expectations. But there is no evidence that I have seen that shows that Twitch is not a profitable company. So I'm always curious when people come in and they're like, no, Twitch can't do this, they can't afford it. Like, no. Because from everything I've seen, you know, they were acquired for $1 billion, you know, in 2015, 2016, 2014. And since then, their valuation has grown. I don't know. No one knows the answer, right? Like, now I do have some insight from a former Twitch employee. So we are going to go through that thread. But I think it's weird that when streamers are like, we want this because this will be better for us and this will make us, you know, be able to stream more, support this as a living, and so more streaming, more success, blah blah blah. And then to me it's weird for people to come in and be like, no, sorry, Twitch doesn't make enough. Like, no one has enough information to make that distinction. So for me, why go around basically shutting down this idea when you don't know all of the information? You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have all of the information. You don't know Twitch's, unless you literally work for Twitch Finance, you don't know Twitch's business. And also, people are like, well, where would it come from? How could they pay for this? It's like, how could they pay for this? This is a very interesting phrase that gets thrown around a lot. And it's only used to put down ideas that are beneficial for a large amount of people, right? And you see this in politics as well. It's like, well, how are we going to pay for universal health care? How are we going to pay for this? Meanwhile, you have this like super inflated military budget that no one questions ever, right? And so it's the same thing. Whenever Twitch adds new features, more developer tools, the hype train, or, you know, fixing things on their site, or improving raids, or, you know, all these things, it's never about how much, oh, well, how are they going to pay for this? What is the development time? Like, what is it going to cost to make it? So to me, my opinion is it's not up to us, okay? It's fair for creators to point out that, you know, they want something changed. That's up to Twitch and their business to basically weigh, okay, well, what is a revenue hit? You know, what are the pros and cons? What is the long-term viability of this, right? Like that's them. That's all them that they have to figure out, okay? And the thing is, if creators leave the platform and they go and they actually start taking hold in YouTube and Facebook and they start growing communities there because they can actually make a living there, that is, do you know how much Twitch will make if there aren't any creators on the platform? Okay, so that's really up to Twitch to figure out, okay, well, like, are people leaving because of this? You know, is this a good thing? Blah, blah, blah. How can we make this work? That's really up to them. Okay, so I really hate when people go around and do that because I've only seen it for this argument. I've only seen it for this argument and never for any of the other features and tools and changes that people want on the platform. So that's my basically spiel. Now, here's the thing. Personally, my personal opinion, I am not championing this because, you know, this is not my issue. I am bringing it to light because I am an advocate for creators. So if something is going around that creators want to change, I will bring it to light. Now, I am not going to fight you 1v1 on whether they should do this or not. I just look at the facts. The facts are, clearly this is a very popular thing. You know, 19,000 votes and counting. It would be beneficial to creators. And of all the other streaming platforms, Twitch's revenue split is the lowest. It is the worst. Those are the facts that I have. Now, when people try to debate me about like, oh, well, how are they going to pay for it? Yeah, I mean, then all of a sudden I'm defending this like vehemently just because the concept is fine. Like, it's fair. It's totally fair. If you're a consumer of something, you're allowed to say, hey, this is not working for me. I don't like this. And then not have the company or random people that are also consumers turn around and be like, well, how are you going to fix it? How are you going to, even though you don't have an engineering background, neither do I, you have to figure out how to fix why you want this product to be better. Like, no, you don't actually have to do that. That's a fallacy. You don't have to. You can just say, hey, you know what? This keyboard that I use, it's not working for me. It is the keys, they get stuck together and they're too close together and I just don't like it. Okay, and then someone's like, well, how would you fix it? I mean, how take apart the keyboard and examine it and tell me how it's like, no, like, you don't have to do that, okay? You can say something is wrong without having the answer, okay? So that's my whole spiel. If you want to vote for this, you have the link in the user voice. So I do want to talk a little bit about a thread from a former Twitch employee that is a counter to the sub split discussion. So let's pull this up. Former Twitch employee explains why sub revenue split won't change. Now, this is some really great insight. So for the other side of things, this person used to work at Twitch, and so they actually can speak on these things. They do know the internals. They're one of the only few people that can actually speak about these things, okay? So I'm just going to pull up this conversation so that, you know, we don't have to go through Dexerto. So here are the real economics of the sub-split market no one wants to talk about, or maybe they don't understand. Number one, big streamers are a loss leader. Every time someone who averages 5K, probably lower, goes live, Twitch loses money. Their paid subs will never be enough. Let me zoom in, sorry. Number 2. Mid-tier streamers make up for this loss. Mid-level in this case is probably between 100 to 500. Who knows with pandemic numbers. You're a size where your subs likely outnumber your viewers by a large margin, which cannot be profitable without maximizing revenue from this group. Number 3. Smaller streamers probably make back what they cost Twitch. Maybe Twitch makes money from the ad side. Bonus. See why Twitch wants bigger streamers to run more ads without a better share of ad money so they can possibly get them to pay their share. Why do big streamers cost Twitch money? Prime subs aren't free, serving video isn't free. You think Twitch doesn't have the tech to do 4K? They have some of the best video engineers, past and present. It's because it's expensive to serve 4K. So what does this mean? Your best chance for Twitch to have a fair sub split is to adopt progressive taxation of the biggest streamers. The bigger you get, the less you get per sub. If everyone was offered a choice, I bet you most streamers wouldn't take the system. Definitely. But Sam, how do Facebook and YouTube do it? They're not of size. Before I started at Twitch, I always thought Mixer had such an advantage with their latency. Then I realized that their latency was because they didn't have the viewership Twitch did. Wait till they get bigger, it'll be bad. But Sam, if big streamers lose money, why would Twitch keep them and pay them so much? Twitch's growth is about being the cool place to be. You want to be at the cool kids party, big streamers ensure those parties are on Twitch. Devin Nash made a great response. Let's see if I can find that. Your model assumes Twitch subscription revenue operates in a vacuum. It does not. Twitch is punishing streamers for their own inferior ad systems. The ad revenue vertical should subsidize subscription splits for creators. This is how YouTube offers its creators better sub splits. You're 100% right, says Sam. $1.5 CPM is a freaking joke for pre-roll or mid-roll video advertisements, especially in Western countries. I'm not justifying Twitch's sub split. I'm trying to provide context as to why Twitch justifies it. Let's not kid ourselves. The two companies everyone is most envious about in terms of ad dollars are Google/YouTube and Facebook/Meta. With TikTok being not far behind, Twitch can't compete with them at that game. They have to make a new one, but they aren't doing that. So this is a very interesting discussion, and thanks for pointing out the Devin Nash comment because, you know, it's obviously a complicated situation, right? It's not black and white. So I really like this. I like this dialogue between Devin and Sam, two very brilliant people. They understand business very well, and Sam worked for Twitch, so he has that extra insight. You know, this is a very fair discussion to have here, and really shows just how Twitch's deep-rooted problems that they have. And I think it was the way that, you know, things started and how fast things grew, and they just have never been able to properly scale their functionality with how big Twitch got. I think still they're not scaled properly to how big Twitch is. They are a company that always feels like they're in over their heads, and I think this is a huge highlight of that issue. You know, right now you have 20,000, almost 20,000 people who are, and definitely more, just people who haven't voted, who would like this. You know, probably millions of creators would prefer a better split, and I would be keen on seeing what kind of impact that would make. Like, how many streamers would go from being completely unable to make this a full-time thing to like actually knocking off bills and moving into a full-time space. Now, here's what I want to say. Twitch as a platform is a very unforgiving and, to be fair, almost detrimental, a very unforgiving and detrimental space for creators at this point. Twitch is a platform that really only benefits, at this point, big personalities, big creators, popular streamers, people that are popular on Twitch or elsewhere can be successful on Twitch. Because of this low payment issue, the problem with pre-rolls, the lack of discoverability, all of the DMCA thing, and intertwining just the lack of general creator knowledge and awareness and understanding of what it takes to become a streamer, it is really hard to make streaming, grow your stream and make streaming a thing on Twitch. It's becoming harder. And this is just one of the issues. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that Twitch is going to change the sub split. If they do, it would be to just partners would get all partners would get a better split. And I think that would be a huge step forward in the right direction. There are 50,000 Twitch partners, probably more by now. And most of those, probably 99% of them, don't have a better split. They're still on the 50-50 split. And we talk about like, well, what is the difference between being an affiliate and being a partner? There really isn't much of a difference anymore. That would be a huge perk, I guess, to being a Twitch partner. It would actually, it would say, hey, you're a Twitch partner. You know, here's a huge change. This will really help you in your journey. You can make streaming your thing. Especially because when you get partnered, you are in what Sam has described, a mid-level streamer, where you are more likely to be a positive revenue source for Twitch, rather than being at the very bottom or the very top, which seems to be not very profitable, right? So what better way to kind of facilitate creators being able to make this a full-time thing by changing the sub split for their partners? And I know that's going to upset a lot of people, like a lot of affiliates, a lot of smaller creators, and be like, oh, well, partners get it, but they're going to get it and not us. And look, I'm just trying to be realistic here in what Twitch could probably do. I know it's not like, you know, everyone getting a better split. That's better for creators, obviously. But I don't think that is very realistic. I don't see Twitch making affiliate better than 50-50. The best hope that I think is just changing it across for all partners. So that's my opinion on it. You know, I'd love to know your thoughts on the sub split issue. Do you think it's possible? Is this something you're in favor of? And also, if you are a creator that's getting fed up with this, are you looking at other platforms? Is it time to start looking at other platforms that have a better revenue split? If you have a community that can pull over, there's other platforms that have better discoverability that might give you a better chance of making this a thing. So, you know, I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know. And thanks for watching.